Hey everybody! I just wanted to share something with you. This that kind of relates to chapter 6 in Douglas Kelly's book, Creation and Change. I got an email sent to me from David Reeves Ministries. He's a creation science guy. He has a show about geckos and the fact that they found geckos preserved in amber, supposed to be 100 million years old. And these geckos are remarkably similar to the geckos we have today. And so I googled the 100 million year old geckos, and I came up with a bunch of stories on them. This one's from 2016. It's called A Real Life Jurassic Park. So they found the geckos preserved in amber, just like the mosquitoes that are preserved in amber in the movie Jurassic Park. And so the title is A Real Life Jurassic Park. Ancient geckos are found perfectly preserved after being trapped in amber 100 million years. Collection of 12 lizards found in Myanmar are from the Cretaceous period. They predate dinosaurs such as T-Rex and Triceratops. 2 of the fossils are related to modern geckos and chameleons. Even toe pads, you know, they have these sticky toe pads, were found and present 100 million years ago. An amazing design which humans are only beginning to understand, and we can't even replicate it fully yet. But they were found in these 100 million year old geckos. Amazing. The collection could help to solve mysteries in the lizard family tree. And so I'm not going to read the whole article to you. I was just going to read you the headline and kind of the summary of it at the beginning. But so we have this in the fossil record, this idea of stasis. In evolutionary thought, stasis is what we observe when we see that many creatures that existed millions of years ago have stayed remarkably the same or similar to the way they were in the ancient past. So you can go look up stasis, you can go look up all the examples. There are many, many examples of creatures. So why is this important, and what does it have to do with the Bible and with the book of Genesis? So God created everything according to its kind. People have debated, so what is the kind? Is it phyla? Is it genera? Is it, you know, a family? Is it this? And they're debating that, and creation scientists are trying to figure out what the created kinds are. It's called baraminology, or I may not be saying that right, but it's the idea that these created kinds were created by God, and they've stayed within their kinds. They haven't evolved into other kinds. There's variation, there's change over time, there's adaptation within kinds, but we don't find kinds of one thing evolving into the other, which of course is what evolutionary thought would have us believe. So these geckos are very similar to geckos we see today, even with their sticky feet. And that should cause people that embrace the evolutionary paradigm to kind of scratch their heads, or at least to give some more thought to it, why we find something like that. If the evolutionary history is as what they say it's supposed to be. But I think it's an amazing thing. I think God's design in the geckos is so amazing, and the fact that we're finding things so well designed millions of years ago, not just in the present. What we are supposed to find in evolution is things that are not as well designed, or maybe very simple. But what we find throughout the fossil record is creatures that are very well designed and able to adapt and change to in their environment. You know, God, when He created the creatures and created them according to their kinds, He gave them the ability to adapt. He gave them and that shows us His providential care over His creatures, because things would change on earth, you know, during and after Noah's flood, and through the natural processes that the earth goes through, environments would change. And so a good God would give creatures the ability to change according to how the environment is changing. And again, it just points us to the amazing super creative genius of God and the power and his providential care over all of his creatures, not just over his image bearers, humans. So these examples are all over. I encourage you to go look for them. Look for creatures that would fall into the category of stasis, where they've remained mostly the same over millions of years. And go look at the article about the gecko. It's really interesting. And look out for these things in science, because they're all over the place. As you look, you have to ask yourself, why do they hold on to the evolutionary paradigm if we have so many examples of these things that and again, that's not to say they haven't changed at all. The geckos from 100 million years ago are not exactly the same as geckos today, but they're in the same kind, and they still have the complexity and the design that's showing forth in this amazing ability to stick to things with their fingers and their and again, humans try to copy what God's done in nature to figure out how to do things, how to stick to walls, and they're actually trying to figure it out. But humans, as of yet, have not been able to completely imitate what God has done with the amazing gecko pad on their feet, the sticky pad on their feet. So again, this just points to the creative genius, the caring providence of God over all his creatures. So I'll leave you on that note, and I just can encourage you to gather with your church family tomorrow and worship this God who's created everything according to its kind, and he's done all things well, and he even takes care of his creatures in a fallen world as we await the return of Jesus. Have a good weekend. God bless you. Go to church.